right, we are live. Give me 1 second here. Let me post this on Twitter. Awesome. Good. Hope everybody had an awesome day today. If you could, I think anybody who had calls or was had anything long going in today was pretty happy at the open. I think what was really interesting though is that if you went long into the day, that's really great. But what happened, right, is just about everything. I just went through and posted a bunch of stuff of the FANG stocks. I mean, most everything, gapped up, of course, but just about everything came in red today. So it wasn't like a real gap and go type day. That's why, I got a few messages and everything today. And I was just saying, and I even started with the open. I was like, use caution today. We talked about it yesterday. Huge gap up, obviously. The idea is probably now, tomorrow, you can see already the futures are pointing down. It's gonna relax. It might even just kind of drift into the close, and kind of put in like an inside day tomorrow on probably a lot of things. So that's kind of something I'm looking at tomorrow. How do you take advantage of that? I posted earlier. One of the things we could do. I'm not a huge fan of doing an iron condor, just because the risk to reward is never, it's never good enough. It's always, bigger risk, less reward, but the probability is higher that it'll work out. But that's one thing we could look at, and I think the interesting thing is tomorrow, if we see a choppy day, we don't have some sort of big sale into the close. I think there's a lot of probably traders out. There's not a lot of volume. I mean, there's some pretty decent volume that came in today, but a little more than Friday. But it's possible. If volume is light tomorrow, we could see an inside day. Might not be such a horrible idea to put an iron condor in at the beginning of the day. I think that if you keep it in the range here, you see how we close, like kind of right in the middle of this range here. So the high was 280.5 and low of 277.5. So to put on an iron condor, let's say we keep it under, say 277.5. So you buy, so you buy an out of the money put, and then you sell one just above it. So basically we're saying it's going to close. This is a, basically saying if it closes over 277, so we're thinking 277.5. And then what was the high here? High was 280.5. So maybe we do 281, and that's when you go here. So you buy a 282 and sell a 281 call. And then, so what you have here, right, is it costs about 36 cents. And the idea is if it closes with, so you're risking $64, so it's a 2-to-1 risk reward, which is terrible, right? I mean, but the odds of it closing in there is good. So you have odds in your favor, right? So basically, if you do 10 of these, let's see if it even makes sense. You do 10 of these. So you risk, problem is the commissions, right? In and out, right? So you've got 10, 20, 30, 40, commissions are, whatever your commissions are, right? So it could be more than that. If you're spending $5 an option, that's not good, right? But here, so you can risk 600 to make 300 in a day, right? So as long as it closes between 277 and 280 tomorrow, the Wednesday options expire tomorrow. So that's something to look at tomorrow, is to trade the choppy market, right? So that was kind of one of the titles of today, is how to trade the choppy market. The other option is don't trade it at all, right? Because unless you can catch like a good orb, at the open, it's tough. It's tough to pick something, right? Because you go to the 60 time frame, and although there's some pretty decent setups, and you can make money. Here, let's see. So SPY had put in a hammer here, so the high was 278.59. If you took it above that, you could have taken that all the way up to where did that go? 279. I mean, so you could have made 60 cents off of that. I mean, it's not horrible, right? But here's another hammer here, right? Long, lower tail, right? And so you could have taken that. So that was at 179.03, but it only would have gone up 30 cents, right? So, these type of choppy market type situations are very challenging. So unless you have that mindset of, moving your stop to profit once you get profitable, these things can really get pretty choppy, right? I mean, Amazon pretty much put in, what was this? I don't think it was quite a triple inside, but I mean, really, if you look at just the body of these candles, I mean, it was all kind of right around the VWAP, like all day. So just definitely within a really tight range. So that's just looking here. If you look at the bodies, they were like this. And so that's pretty choppy, right? Move those. Not really helpful at all, but anyway. So yeah, so it's tough. So one of the good things that you can think about doing is if it's getting choppy, or you let's say you've taken two, it's going to be a choppy day. Just take the rest of the day off, right? You don't have to trade, right? So and keep in mind, and we kind of planned for that, right? So I mean, we figured today would be pretty wild, and look, in the first hour it was pretty wild. The range, look at Amazon here, was 50 in the first, gapped up huge, went down, looked like it was going to completely reclaim, and then kind of shot back up. I mean, it was just crazy at the open. So, so days like that, just kind of want to maybe chill. Tomorrow, honestly, I think it's going to be another kind of inside, kind of choppy day. And we're kind of drifting down here. Futures are kind of drifting down. Over here. I don't know why after hours not on that one. Anyway, kind of drifting in the close, right? So, so just keep that in mind. Sorry, I'm looking at the future. So yeah, of course it's not going to have like after hours, but it has the line right here. So yeah, just kind of like drifting down. So just keep that in mind. This gap below, I don't think it's going to be too crazy, but you never know. So watch how the open goes. So if I was going to do an iron condor, I'd wait until at least the first 30 minutes, let everything calm down, and then just kind of let it kind of drift, and then you should be able to bank some money off of that. We'll see. If I decide to take one, I'll tweet it out. Let you guys know. Other than that, let's just do a little quick game plan review. So today, I got a nice tweet today that we had some success in Qualcomm. I didn't get to trade too much today, but it gapped up, but it was it could have traded a reversal, so a little aggressive, but 59.1 that was on the 30, but 59.4 all the way down to 58.4, so a good point off of that. Again, I don't really encourage reversals. Basically this is gapping up with everything else, but really ultimately they were saying the deal wasn't going to go through with the NXPI, so you could have perceived that as negative. It's tough. It's tricky when you have something gapping up that's not really gapping up on news, and the whole market's gapping up, despite itself. So it would have been a tricky play. And like I said, today was a tough day. It was a tough day to trade. GlaxoSmithKline was going to spend like $5 billion, so that got really just jammed, right? But you could have shorted that here off the 15, and then went inside 15, so that break would have been even better. So you'd have 38.5 to 38, so basically 30 cents, right? But it's a cheap stock. So 30 cents on a cheap stock could be pretty decent. 1,000 shares, $300, right? So that's a possibility. And what else do we have today? I didn't get to look at a couple of them. I did want to... This is one where I thought that a reversal would be great, and it was good if you go to the daily. So Sprout Farmers Market, SFM, if you look at the daily, it gapped down yesterday. I tweeted this out, gapped down on CEO leaving, but it wasn't like bad news against the CEO. So definitely a reversal play was in store, but catching it was difficult because I prefer the 15. But the 15, you could have made it. You could have had like 24.74 to 25.42. So that was a pretty good trade on a $25 stock, right? But if you caught it at the open, you could have, maybe a 5-minute bar would have been even better, right? But if that gets a little bit risky, you put on more risk, you have a better chance of getting stopped out. But here, you could have done it. Nice reversal, 24.70ish to 25.50. So not too bad there. What else do we have? We had what did Workday ended up doing today? I didn't get to look at a lot today. I had a bunch of meetings today. So yeah, kind of. You could have caught it at the end there. See how the 15 orb. Actually, would have done a 30 orb today because it was day 2. Still could have caught it at the end. So 166 to 167. So you could have made a point right at the close on Workday if you stalked it all day. So you can see the money's there to be made, and that's the one thing I noticed even on choppy days. As long as you're looking at the right stuff, I mean, you would have to wait all day for this, right? Right in the last 30 minutes of the day. But could you have waited all 8 hours to make, you know, a point? I mean, sure. Why not? Yeah. So just stuff like that. Let's see, SPLK. Let's see. I don't think that ended up. I think that went inside all day. Oh nope. Decided to reverse. Isn't that interesting how the that word up was here, and then it kind of was the exact same line that essentially was the exact same line to the downside, right? So you could have traded a reversal on that potentially. So, but 109 all the way down. So 2 points on that. So you can see. I mean, I don't encourage reversals. It's a little more complicated, right? But if the market if a lot of things were pointing down, it could have made sense to try it because you knew it had some of the some action on it from yesterday. So Pan W and Yax, let's take a look at those real quick, and then we'll talk about a couple things. So Pan W, I think it was pretty good there. So could have taken that orb up. So that was 177 all the way up to so 2 points there. So yeah, I mean, so honestly, there was plenty to do today. I just didn't get to stock all this stuff today, so got pretty busy. But next, look at that. Isn't that amazing? So the low, so the 15 orb low from yesterday after earnings, really never triggered, right? And then today, that same low ended up becoming support, right? And then back up. So that's pretty interesting. Didn't really give a lot of opportunities, but you wouldn't have gotten a hurt on it. So yeah, so that was those. And then real quick, I kind of want to just talk about a couple different setups. Just want to talk about some candlesticks. You guys have seen. What was I looking at? Let's look at Apple real quick. So there's a difference, right? So between a hammer and a hanging man, right? And the difference is, let me show you. So a hammer, as you guys know, if you've read my pinned tweet, right? You guys and anybody who's followed me for a little bit knows that a hammer is super strong, right? And the reason is because it had all this time, right? If you look at these bars, if you think about, that's the thing is what you need to think about is on candlesticks, is you need to think about what's it doing, right? What's it mean? What does the price mean, right? So I mean, and you do it by when you look at, so you watch it live and you're like, okay, you're just trying to track it and see where it's going, right? But when you look and see what it puts in officially for the record books, right? You see that it, opened up, right? Kind of tested high and all that stuff, came back way down, right? And opened in the middle of the range, right? So, this just shows, this by closing right in the middle of the range here is kind of, some indecision. But it also, closed weak. It closed way below like where it opened, right? So you would think there'd be some drift down, and that's exactly what happened, right? Open, up, down, close. Did the same thing. And then it finally started getting consolidated here. And you can see the VWAP is kind of staying steady, right? And then it was like, okay, let me go green, right? And then here, not quite an inside. My favorites are, inside 60s, but a momentum hammer is good too. So a hammer, right, puts in a, relatively small upper body, right? And at least 50% of the bottom is wick or shadow, right? So I call it wick just because it makes sense. It's a candle, right? But, I think technically they call it shadows. It's fine. So there's your hammer there. And this would have been a great trade too if you were stocking it. So, obviously green hammer is the best, right? And, there's some books out there that say it doesn't matter if it's green or if it's red or if it's black or it's white, but a green hammer is going to show, right, that it closed above where it opened, right? And that's very bullish, right? And as you can see, that actually really ended up playing well today. So, if you're focused on some of these stocks today, although it was a choppy day, there's some great trades to be made. I mean, this was, you enter long over this hammer. So this is 182.94. Let's say you took 183 break, right? You have a stop down here, 181.77. So not a very big stop, right? Only a point. And then look at that, almost 2 points right there at the end of the day that you could have made off of Apple, right? And that trade's great. I mean, the options trade great on Apple. So that's a hammer. A hammer is very bullish, right? So let me. Let's just take a look. Let's say you're at 183 and you're like, okay, 183, let me trade the 184s. So let's see what those look like today. Oh, I'm sorry, 185s. So what we do, just go here, thinkorswim. I'm going to copy the option. Let's take a look. 1.1. So you'd have been risking 30 cents on this option, right? And then, gosh, this is really tough to, because it doesn't really match the exact hours. Let me see if I can. That's a little bit better. How about that? Okay, so we obviously have a green hammer on the daily, but here it ended up showing kind of a red hammer, right? But still, you base it off the day. If you have like a split screen or something like that, you can look at both the option that you're interested in trading. So as the hammer is forming, and as you're stalking it, right? So it went inside 60, right here, and then it gave you a red hammer. But keep in mind on the daily it was green. So as that triggered, you're looking at 140 and then a stop at 106. So you have 40 cents of risk right here, and then it would have just basically launched, right? And so you had 150, 160, right? 70, 180, 190, and I'm closing at $2, right? So that's a pretty good trade in Apple. So definitely one that could have been caught there. So especially if you're looking, again, let's go back to the main one, the daily 60s. So here, right? Catch the hammer. So you would have been able to catch about, say you got it at $1.50, you could have made a good 50 cents on that, on those options. So, which could have been however many options you got, right? It could have been like, 50 cents, could have been $500, could have been $5,000. Just depends how much, what your risk tolerance is, right? And always remember risk first, because if you got stopped out, you'd have lost 40 cents. So it could have been $400, right? So just something to keep in mind there. But again, you could, if you trade the commons, boom, it's an awesome trade. So that's a hammer, right? So, and then I want to show you the difference between that and a hanging man. We'll go to the daily to see that. It's interesting how these, play out. It's like you have these kind of strong hammers here, but the daily, maybe not so strong. So this here looks like a hammer, right? Looks really awesome, except that it is, did that hit 173.63? Nope, didn't close that gap completely. So amazingly enough, right? And now we're gapping down, right? So we'll see. So when you're running up, right, in a wave or a trend here, and then you get to a hammer here instead of at the bottom, this hammer then is called a hanging man, right? And this is actually a very bearish signal. And so, so today on the daily, this gap up, it's had a good run up here, and you can see this is one of those Andrew's reaction lines. Had a big run up, right? Run down, run, then back down, and now, it's floating back down. So so keep that in mind. A hammer at the top of closer to the top of a pivot area could be very bearish. At the bottom, could be very bullish. Right? And the same is for the opposite too. Oh, look at this here. Let me show you this, a perfect example right here. So here, it came down, pivoted down, put in a hammer inside. That break of the inside, right? Inside means indecision, right? This is called a harami, right? So that harami, as it goes inside, it could go to the it could break to the downside. It doesn't know where it wants to go yet. Comes here, breaks to the upside, right? We use those on 60s as anchors for us. We call those anchors, right? In our group here. So as that breaks to the upside, right, now you had a nice bar here for $3.95, and then it hit into, kind of a, pivot resistance area, right, and then it put in a hanging man, and then the hanging man drifted all the way down after that, right, came up, put in a hammer. This one was red, but still, either way, it's a hammer, and went back up, right, back down, right. This is where, remember, it put in this gravestone doji, failed to the upside, right. Put in a hammer, right? Not quite hammer, it's not 50%, but you see what I'm saying, very strong. Then up, one more, right here. Now we're at a hanging man. And so my suspicion is that this is bearish, and then now we take this reaction line and maybe drift down, at least to this median point here of the pitchfork. So something to keep an eye on. So that's the difference between same exact thing, right? Same exact construct, just different location, right? So keep that in mind. Anyway, so those are what I wanted to talk about tonight. So basically how to trade choppiness and the difference between a hammer and a hanging man. So hope that helps. All right. Well, what's going on, Shirley? Welcome back. Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a good weekend. Jesus, how's it going, man? Good to see you. How about Apple? Yeah, so you tuned in right in time, right? So I was just talking about Apple. So Apple, of course, I always tweet. Every market night I tweet out the FANG stocks. Tomorrow won't be a market night because I wish I was off on Wednesday, but the market will be closed on Wednesday. So again, remember, if you have Wednesday options, they close tomorrow. So Apple it's up $6 today, right from the gap. Ended up closing the month, not closing the month, ended up starting the month in a green location. Still got a ways to go. Did put in a potential weekly, hammer sort of forming, and then here, different than the Qs, right? So the Qs here we've already pivoted here. You could see, and look, there was a hammer right here. Then it went inside and then up, right? Hammer inside for indecision, and then up, right? Now, this could very well be a continuation hammer for Apple. Why is that different than the Qs? Because Apple, remember, it was down the other day when everything else was going up. That's why it's lower. But here, the Qs is already put in a pivot, and it's much further extended, right? Whereas Apple looks like a potential continuation hammer, right? Now, I'm not ignorant to the fact that it's down 3 points after hours, right? So we'll see what, if this is what is that, a Dragonfly? I believe Dragonfly Doji. If it's up, if it closes up top like that. So if that fails, then if this tail fails to the downside, that could be very bearish. So we'll see. It's pretty close to it. So let's put tail fail there. So that could be interesting to watch tomorrow. There's a couple 60s too to watch for tomorrow. I put some 60 anchors down. I believe, Google had an inside 60 to close, so keep an eye on that. And Nvidia, not an inside 60, but a shooter or inverse hammer, bar under the VWAP. So this could be bearish with a big gap right here. And then what else? Oh, Facebook is my most bearish. That's like just still that sort of bear market. It's like strength in the morning, weakness in the afternoon, right? And so, and then Facebook is also gapping down a little bit here. So, but this is good. So if it tries to rally a little bit, you can use this as an anchor. This, this inverted hammer is an anchor too under the VWAP. So, DBX, sure, yeah, man. Let's take a look at it. So Dropbox, I don't know how often you've traded it. It is this is a tricky stock to trade. It gets a little funky, right? So the spreads, like sometimes the spreads are like, a couple cents apart, and then they're 10 cents apart. So it gets a little bit funny to trade. Right now on the monthlies, obviously there's not all the months because it's recent IPO. So right now it had a doji month, right? Now it's still in that kind of same range, right? It had that pretty decent earnings so last month. So then it came in. What is this? Put in a weekly hammer, right? Hammer took it up and closed above it. Now it's working on an inside week, and then let's see. Definite. I mean, obvious downtrend here. I don't know if it's really a falling wedge, but there's definitely some trend lines you could look at, for potential resistance here. So, it's it tried here, at earnings, came back in, drifted way down, kind of came back up. And then your 60s, depending on when you want to trade this time frame, it did close over the VWAP, but again, real choppy day. So you have to keep an eye on that. We can go, let's take a look at, just see how it would look. Draw a pitchfork on this. Tough to see. Hard to tell. Let's see what that looks like. It's been kind of downtrending, so let's see what that. If it indeed pivoted here, so it's definitely got some room here up to 26. Just got to catch the right intraday setup, right? So that's DBX. Let's take a look at Starbucks. Oh, I know this has been great. I've been stalking this one. Thank you for reminding me about it. Yeah, because I did I was working on a Elliott wave pattern on this one. yeah, so I am, yes, this is wave 1, 2. Usually if you see a gap here like this, you can kind of almost guess it's some sort of wave 3, especially since it's continuing. So 1, 2, 3. And then I called out a couple days ago, and I missed it because it was like the day I started stocking it. I was like stocking it here, and then it kind of predicted it would come down, right? Sort of retrace, which it did. So 23.6 could have gone all the way down to this 38.2 retracement. Right now, I'm expecting an extension back up, which it's slowly working on, right? Up to wave, potential wave 5 up. And so there's a couple ways to measure that. It could be potentially the length of wave 1. It could be, was it 61.8% extension off of wave 4. 61.8. So it could go. Or we could get up all the way to 70. I don't think it would get much higher than that, but I felt pretty comfortable with the 73 area. So the market is looking pretty good. Starbucks could look pretty good. Let's take a look at what kind of bars. Thank you for reminding me of this one too. I will put an alert on it because it might be worth it to take it up to wave 5 up. We might do like a vertical spread or something like that, just to just try. Let's see if I can get that below there. Wave 5 up, and then let's look at the candlesticks, see how they're looking. Yeah, so month green, starting at the top of the range. That's always good. I kind of gapped up with everything else. Came in, filled the gap, and then put in a spinning top, right? So a spinning top, could mean it's thinking about changing direction, or it could just be pausing and getting ready to go higher, right? Remember back here, that was an inside week. Took the inside week down. Kind of closed the middle range. Now it's kind of working its way back up. And the daily, and the spinning top on the day. So just something to keep an eye on, really. I do think it's going to go higher. And then it'll be shortable. So maybe it'll get up to 75. 75 seems kind of high, though. 73, 74. It's kind of like my target area. So it's worth it to try long. Oh, thanks. The less IPV 1, 2, 3. Appreciate it. Oh, good, awesome, good job, CYH. Yeah, I know you're looking at some really great stuff. Oh, look at that, you're crushing it. Just a solid setup. You found a bunch of great setups that day. They're really incredible. And these are things I never look at, like these, health stocks, stuff like that. That's really great. Congratulations on that. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Northern Dojo, exactly. Yeah, for sure. Yep, pretty sure for Apple, Dragonfly Doji. Sounds right. So yeah, really appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. If anybody has any other chart requests, I'm happy to take a look at whatever you guys got. What else I was just looking at? Vive was a double inside day. If you guys have looked at my pinned tweet, you guys know double inside day, just to kind of review the strategy. I was hoping to do it today on Microsoft. I couldn't really do much today. It's pretty busy, but everything gapping up, it's really a lot harder to do. A light gap up, no problem. A huge gap up like this, tough, but look what it did. It tested the range, right, which it usually does, and then it launched back up. So, usually typically gap up, you want to try to trade it into the range, but when that failed, then going up was the way to go, right? So here, 110, 111, all the way up to 112, so a good point right there. So if you went short here and tried it, you might have lost like 10, 15 cents, but if you took it to the reverse side, you'd have made it up easily. So tough to trade. Big gaps like this, have to watch and see what it does. Maybe with the 60s, if it trade or add on a break of either one to the upside or downside. Of course, if it gaps slightly down below it, you might want to trade it to the upside. If slightly up above it, trade it into the range, and usually you can get a full, full range that way. So, it could be worth $2 or $3 tomorrow. So that's Vive. Colgate Palmolive took the triple inside week up, so I'm going to take that off the watch list, or for the game plan tomorrow. Yeah, what's going on, Paul? Good to see you. Yeah, Starbucks. I think so. I think it's starting a wave 5, and impulse wave, right? So there should be you know 5 minor waves in it. So I think it's part of 1 right now. So just have to keep an eye on it. So I think it's worth maybe like a what are the average length of those? Yes, can I go back? I think it's working on it, right? So 1, 2, 3. Right, it's a pretty big one, but I like 3. And we could have done like 1, 2, and then made this whole thing part of 3. Either way, I think 3 concluded here, and then worked on a 4 down, right? So A, B, C. So this is the bottom of 4, right? Here, and then now we'll see what it does. See if it goes like 1 down, 2, then 3, 4, 5. So just have to keep an eye on it. I think it's working on a 5 up, and then we'll see what then it should roll over eventually. And then usually here with the RSI, I'm going to remove this. RSI, so you get this big overbought area. That usually represents a 3. And then eventually, once we'll confirm our wave 5 up, if we can get like a bit of a lower RSI high, here or something like that. A little overbought area here, and then typically that's a 5. So this does look like it's going to go further up to finish that up. It's maybe a vertical spread or something like that. I mean, it might be a while, so maybe the November 21s you could do like a 68 or something like that. Let's see. $8.5 maybe. So 15 cents, right, for December, except I wanted the 21st. So in the monthlies, 22 cents, big difference. 22 to make 28. Not too bad. I mean, it looks like it's going to get over 70. Here. Good on my back ratio. Over 70, sorry. Buy. Vertical. There you go. That's a good risk to reward right there. I like a 1 to 9 risk reward. So that's definitely worth looking at. So I might look at something like that. So if I do catch it intraday, I'll tweet it out. So okay, Shirley, yeah, PDD. Well, that's interesting. Gosh, you love these cup. I don't know how you catch these cup and handle type things, but you do a good job with those. Let's see. Yeah, you always catch these awesome break areas. Let's see. Yeah, so I remember trying to trade this as an IPO. It just ended up going down, so it was real tough to trade. So yeah, it just failed. And I remember I think I did trade this break like a few months later. I had an old alert on it, and as soon as it broke that, you can see on this IPO 27.59. Yeah, it was 3 points. I remember making money on that. It was a good trade. Okay. There. Okay, so red on the month, red week so far. So, but it is up $1, so it gapped. That's what I remember where it came from. Let's see. What's going on, YOLO? Very nice. Good. Yeah. I mean, if you're talking about Starbucks, right? I think you could be good on that, man. It's looking good. Okay. BBY, that would be Best Buy, as opposed to BBBY, which is Bed Bath & Beyond, or BB, which is BlackBerry. Yeah, so Best Buy, very interesting, nice gap, kind of hanging out, right? Green month, green week, prior inside week. So yeah, and did it tag that high 65.81 low? Yep. So it's definitely a part of the inside week up phase right now. So that's in force. Does have a gap below, but we'll see how it holds that, and then we'll see how much strength it could get. A little bit weak on the close there, but yeah, definitely worth keeping an eye on for Best Buy. Let's see what we got going on. Obviously, look at this at some point. I'll tell you one of the things with just real quick with today's huge gap up. Look at the IV implied volatility just dropped like huge today, so that really helps option premiums. So unfortunately, tomorrow is probably going to be a choppy inside type day, so there's not going to be a lot of action. But I do love having like low IV, so you could actually get a good deal on options. But right, okay. So yeah, so it was kind of channeled up for a little bit as it broke that, kind of came down. So now it's just kind of trying to hold on a little bit there. Let's see. So this looks, yeah, kind of gapped above into this sort of median area. So I think it may, yeah, exactly, Paul. Same one, yeah, right. And CY. Cypress Semiconductors. Nice. I don't know where you come up with these. This is great. Yep, another kind of cupish thing working on here. Had an inside week. A little bit of a hammer here and up. I came back in a little bit. Not too much movement today. Red month. Red week. Red day. Lots of red. Red 60 under the VWAP, right? Looks a little dangerous to the long side. Just looking at the candles. Have to see hourly. 1, 2, 3. No. 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe. So maybe we'll be working on sort of a corrective phase right now. A, B, C could be sort of some sort of extended a triangle at once. So like something like that. Gives, but worth keeping an eye on. And ZTO. Let's take a look. ZTO Express. A little thin. No, millions of shares, so that's good. It's, kind of choppy. Okay, let's see. So we got our month, kind of red, little bow tie there. So, death cross there on the 5 through the 10, so kind of pointing down on the monthly. Weekly couldn't hold so far this week. Daily, same thing. Big reversal bar. Yeah, just couldn't hold the highs. So that some definite weakness here. I mean, you can see some prior resistance here, so it stayed below it. Real weak on volume here, 60 under the VWAP on the close. And let's take a look here. Yeah, that could be inching its way up though. How to do on earnings? This must be a Chinese stock. I think it is. ADR, right? Yeah. Cayman? Yeah, delivery company in China. Yeah. You got Eric? Let's take a look. Ericsson. Nice. This one looks really annoying to trade. I call it wicky. It's like if you see lots of wicks everywhere, it just means it's really tough to trade because every time you try to go long, you get caught and it comes back in. So it stays. So if this type of stock, you want to trade the body, right, off of the bodies, and the bodies are the ranges are like a little bit challenging here, but and that's just on the monthlies. Obviously, gap up in the week, hit inside week, didn't test lows, so it could be getting some momentum here. Nice day, stayed at the top of the day, nice hammer. So just have to check, make sure it doesn't become a hanging man, right? So yeah, Ericsson ADR2, didn't that used to be an American company, or is it British? I thought it was an American company. Sweden? Ericsson. I guess that makes sense. Ericsson. Leif Erikson, right? Yeah. Like Viking company. Okay, sorry. Anyway, yeah, it's tough to trade these ADRs, right? Because you don't know where it's going to gap, right? And then you can see like intraday, I mean, you might be able to catch like a little move or something like that. See how the hourlies trade. I mean, look at an inside 60 here. You could have traded that to the upside. 869 as a break of the VWAP would have been good up to 871. So it would have been good for 2 cents. Really tough to trade, right? These bars are not very big. So you had to put a lot of risk on to make money, right, intraday, and your reward's not very good. So I mean, to trade this, you'd have to put like, to make any money off, you'd have to put 10,000 shares, but every penny it ticked back on you would be like, oh no, I'm down $1,000, or you know what I mean? So there's got to be careful with that. Great stuff tonight, guys. So yeah, just to reiterate my game plan, I'll post a game plan for tomorrow. I mean, mostly I'm looking to see a choppy day tomorrow. I might do an iron condor on the SPY after the first 30 minutes if it feels like it's just going to be a choppy day, and just see it, and then just because it closes out that day, right? And see if I can make just a couple $100 just by doing nothing, just by sitting there and letting it close inside the range. Might try that. That'd be fun. It'd be fun to finish the day just with $300 and not really doing anything. So that's an idea. But if it doesn't work, I don't want to lose 600-700, right? So, but that's what I'm looking into it. So that's why risk to reward. You always want, a higher reward, if you're gonna put your money out there. But with those iron condors, you do have a higher probability for it working out. So anyway, something to keep a look on. But yeah, like I said, if you're gonna trade tomorrow, just look to go real light, and don't get upset with yourself if you take some trades and they don't work. Just because we're gonna look at some chop, right? Market's gonna be closed on Wednesday. Wednesday options close tomorrow, and I think there's gonna be a press release tomorrow about tariffs and all that stuff. So Thursday should get some action, but keep in mind on Thursday you got higher theta decay right into Friday. So lots of caution this week. This would probably be a good week to just have taken off altogether, right? But there was some good stuff. I mean, you saw Apple had a good trade today, so I just got to look for the best setups. And if I see one, I'll tweet it out if I am available during the day. So appreciate everybody for tuning in tonight, and I hope you all have a great night and an awesome, safe trading day tomorrow. Preserve profits, and remember your risk first. Talk to you later. Bye.